Are you sure your chronic pain is just physical? A woman came to one of our demonstrations and she informed us that she would have to stand up every few minutes because she had had a terrible accident 7 years ago where she got knocked over by a wave and hit her back on a rock. And even though no one knew why she was still in such pain, she was. And so she said she'd have to get up. And it turned out that she was the person I did a demonstration on. And she wanted, of course, to work on her chronic pain. And it said, because we use muscle testing, as you know, it said that her chronic pain, in fact, wasn't just a physical trauma, but it was actually the reliving of a story that took place in an imaginal world or another lifetime. And it was a story of betrayal. So she dropped into the statement, I betrayed a trust, and her pain got way worse. She was standing, of course, because she said, I can't do this sitting because I'll have to stand up every few minutes. So she was standing. And as she focused on her back pain, she saw herself as a Roman general. And she was leading a lot of men, and the other general was leading a lot of men. And she told her men, I'm not going to let you fight. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm going to go to the other general and say, we're going to fight each other. And whoever wins, they get everybody else as slaves. So she, as a he, went to the other general and they agreed to fight. And the general that this woman was a little bit nonchalant. And as they were fighting, the other general tripped him and he fell down. And as he was trying to get to his feet, he got knocked over. They were in a desert. He got knocked over by what he said, without realizing it was a wave of sand, and fell onto his back. And he saw the general, the other general behind him, about to stab him in the back. And his last thought was, I betrayed all these men. So, and then didn't know all of what happened. So we said, well, obviously what happened is you died. So you have to let yourself fully die and go find the souls of those men. And the men said, we didn't have a chance to fight our own fight and to save ourselves. And that, of course, was your choice, but we really would have liked that chance. And we didn't, we don't hold any grudges against you. At which point, this woman let out a big sigh of relief and it said her work was done. So she went and sat down and told us the story of what happened. And what happened is that she and a bunch of other mothers were watching some kids, and she wasn't watching very carefully. And suddenly it looked like one of the kids was really in some danger because they were out in the ocean. So she raced out into the ocean and got knocked over by a wave and hit her back on a very, very sharp rock. And the kids got themselves out, but she had to be pulled out of the water. And she was told, she was taken to the emergency room and she was told it was like a really bad car accident. But nobody knew why she was still in so much pain after all these years, because it never occurred to anybody, of course, that it was not just fate, but a kind of destiny where she was unconsciously, without even realizing it, creating an echo of the original situation so she could try to handle this issue of betrayal. And she's sitting there telling us this whole story, and people are talking with her, and it gets to be like close to an hour that she's sitting down. And then she says, oh my God, I don't have any back pain. And she had set up a session with me 3 weeks later, and she said, I want to work on some things, like that I'm overly responsible for people still, but my back pain's gone away. And then she made another session with me to double check, but she canceled it because she said, my back pain is gone. So it could be that, of course, you have a physical trauma, but it could be that your physical trauma that brings you into back pain is just an invitation to remembering something where you're trying to heal and grow. So if you're interested in this kind of work, go to our website. It's lifecenteredtherapy.com, and we can train you how to do it, or you can find a therapist who will do this kind of work with you. Thank you so much for listening.